This video is sponsored by no one. But if you would like to have your name read out in future videos, it could be sponsored by you. All you need to do is become a Pickled patron over on Patreon, and on top of having your name read out, you'll also get cool benefits like early access to all my content, access to my Patreon exclusive series, and live Q&As, in which we can discuss what-if ideas, behind-the-scenes details, and even what pizza topping is best. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe, since currently more than 60% of my viewers are not, and it's a great way to make sure you're always notified when a new part of this series drops. But that's enough preamble from me. Let's get on with the Season 2 premiere of What If Red Trained Ash. Hey Green. These two words silence the battle tree, or at least it appears that way to Ash, as he stares between his mother and mentor. In that moment, everyone seems to hold their breath, waiting for Delia's response, with no one being more anxious than Red himself. After a pregnant pause, Delia acknowledges her childhood friend, though there is nothing in her tone to suggest they are anything more than passing acquaintances, with Red taking the hint and keeping his distance. Like with Blue, he immediately tries to launch into an apology, but still in that forced neutral tone, Delia tells him that she doesn't need or want to hear it, since it's been almost 20 years, and she's moved on. Despite there being no cruelty to the way she says this, hurt shines in Red's eyes for a moment, though in the span of a blink it is gone, replaced by regretful understanding as he nods, stating that it is good to see her. Delia says nothing to this, instead returning her gaze to Ash as she congratulates him once more for earning the runner-up spot in the Battle Tree tournament. Re-entering mentor mode, Red does likewise, clapping Ash on the shoulder, though quickly withdrawing his hand when he sees Green's lips purse ever so slightly. Though she had not wanted an apology, he does still want to make up for the way he treated her, and if giving her some alone time with her son after several weeks apart will go some small way to doing so, then he won't intrude. To this end, he promises to debrief with Ash later, before rounding up the three oaks and offering to show them around the battle tree. Though Blue as a co-owner knows the tree just as well if not better than Red, he is smart enough to recognize what his old friend is doing, and so bids his cousin and grandpa to come along, while giving Delia one final wave which the woman returns with a fond smile. When it is just Ash and Delia, the mother and son pair are at last able to catch up, with Ash filling his mum in on everything that's happened since he last called. Delia listens intently throughout the story, clearly delighted to see how much fun Ash is having, even if her lips do keep pursing ever so slightly each time Ash praises Red or recounts something the man has taught him. When he is done, the boy asks for a story in return, though not of Delia's recent exploits, but rather her history with Red and Blue, as well as why she never told him about it. Smiling fondly at her son, Delia gives a brief rundown, explaining how she met Red and Blue when she was about Ash's age, and the three of them were on their Pokemon journey. Though they were all very different, they quickly became a team, helping each other out and growing because of it. When the three of them were together, it was special. They brought out the best in each other like no one else could, allowing them to do things they couldn't imagine achieving alone, such as their defeat of Team Rocket, or how they all earned top 3 spots in the Pokemon League. As she says this, a wistfulness comes over Delia's face, similar to how Red gets when he speaks of his journey, though also like him, it is coloured by a tinge of melancholy. Seeing this, Ash asks why the three of them split up then, remembering Blue's words on the boat that his mother's friendship with Red had come to a rather sticky end. Sighing deeply, Delia explains they had a fight one day before Red went off to Johto, giving no more detail than this, and when Ash asks what about, she lies that she can't remember after so many years. She then changes topic to answer Ash's previous question, stating that she never told him simply because it wasn't relevant. She gave up being green a long time ago and is much happier for it, since while she loved her time journeying with the boys, no adventure has come close to being Delia Ketchum, and more importantly, Ash's mother. She then pulls him into a hug once again, and this time there is no stiffness, with Ash smiling as he puts his arms around her in turn. Following this chat, Ash and Delia split up to take care of personal business, with Delia heading back down the tree to speak with some of her old acquaintances amongst the mentors, while Ash and his team stay on the main battlefield long after everyone else has departed. Once more he thanks them all for their amazing efforts throughout the tournament, with an extra special thanks going to Pikachu, who he feels immensely guilty for making use Volt Tackle, though in contrast, the mouse holds no recrimination for his trainer, perching comfortably on his shoulder and cheering along with all the rest when Ash declares that even if they didn't win this tournament, they're going to keep striving and win the next one. By now, night has begun to fall, with the Kahunas inviting everyone back to the place where the opening ceremony was held for a farewell dinner, since with the tournament now over, everyone will be heading their separate ways in the morning. Due to the high spirits everyone is in after witnessing some incredible battles, it is a delightfully festive evening, with several of the mentors and competitors congratulating Ash on his performance. Chief among them is Red, who as promised pulls Ash aside to discuss the match, and while he does express his pride in his apprentice's growth, he refuses to do him the disservice of swelling his head with nothing but praise, and so also offers him constructive constructive criticism as well. Feeling the drive to improve more strongly than ever, Ash takes each piece of advice to heart, even suggesting he's going to make certain parts the central focus of tonight's training session, just after he's had something to eat first. Giving the boy a grin, Red replies that he supposes he's earned the right to eat before training just this once. Then, with a pat on the back, he encourages Ash to go have fun with his friends. When his protege is gone, Red heads over to the fringes of the dining area, his eyes set squarely on the second kitchen with whom he needs to speak tonight. Almost as if she could sense him coming, Green looks up when Red approaches, her voice once again placid as she asks what he wants. Softly, Red replies that he wants to thank her. He was just talking to Ash, and it's clear that she didn't tell him about what an arrogant idiot he used to be, and for that, he's immensely grateful. However, before he can say more, Green cuts him off, stating that she didn't do it for his sake. She did it because he's Ash's hero, and she didn't want to break his heart by telling him what kind of person Red really is. Feeling he deserves that, Red does not protest her claim, and so she presses on, warning that if he ever does anything to hurt her son, well, just thinking about it finally makes her understand what Red was saying about revenge on Giovanni during their last meeting at the Oak Corral. Nodding gravely, Red promises that he would never do anything to hurt Ash, begging her to believe him, though with a sad sigh, she simply replies that she once believed he would never do anything to hurt her or Blue either. Then, without another word, she puts down her plate and walks away, leaving Red alone with his thoughts. The next morning, as promised, the teams all depart, though unlike the journey here, most do not make the return voyage on the SS Aqua, instead heading to Seafolk Village, or else the airport, with plans to head home directly rather than sequentially. As a result, it seems that only teams Kanto and Johto will be travelling together, though this is not quite right, as just before they're about to lift anchor, two unexpected passengers come into view. The first, and arguably least surprising, is Delia, who states that since they're heading back to Kanto anyway, she might as well join them and use this trip to spend some more time with her son. Following their conversation last night, Red can't help but suspect she is here to keep an eye on him just as much as she is Ash, though hoping that this may give them a chance at reconciliation, he does not object, standing by as Blue welcomes her on board. As for the second passenger, it is none other than Benga, who struts onto the deck as if he owns the place, and sneers at anyone who dares to make eye contact with him. Heatedly, AJ asks what he's doing here, to which the redhead answers that after seeing how weak Kanto's best is, he figured he might as well do their gym challenge, since it'll be a breeze for someone of his skill level. Still riled up, AJ snarks that Benga better get all his badges before he becomes a gym leader then, since there's no way he'll ever lose to his cousin again. This goes on for quite a while, with the pair arguing long after the ship has disembarked and the coastline of Alola has disappeared from view, and while most of the passengers leave them to their bickering, Ash watches, wondering if perhaps his conversation with Benga yesterday might have had more of an impact than expected. With this settled, the journey home begins, though even after all their hard work, the young trainers gathered on board refuse to slow down, using much of this time to train and occasionally battle one another, facing off against opponents they didn't get a chance to in the Battle Tree tournament. It is during this time that Ash learns that AJ caught himself a Totem Alolan Sandslash during his training on Mount Lanakila, rounding out his team nicely, while also giving Ash's Sandslash a new rival during the times he cycles into his team for training. One major difference from the trip to Alola is that the mentors are not cloistered away, meaning they can actually train with their students, with Red giving Ash and AJ his undivided attention, while Blue does likewise with Joe and Gary. Even Lance does some training with his team, though it's clear that unlike Red and Blue, his squad were chosen because of their individual prowess, rather than because they are his personal students. As for Benga, he trains alone, despite each of the mentors and even Delia inviting him to train with them, with this becoming the new normal until they reach Goldenrod City in the Johto region. Here another parting of the ways takes place, as Lance and his team all begin to disperse, while Blue leads his students towards the radio tower, wanting to show them where his Gramps records his show. Then, to the surprise of everyone, Red states that he also must be going, asking Green to escort the boys back to Kanto for him. Coolly, she asks where he's going and what he's doing, to which the champ replies that he has business to attend to, first in Mahogany Town and then on Mount Silver. The mention of this mountain causes suspicion to flash in Green's eyes, as she next asks how long he intends to be away, clear warning in her voice. Though shaking his head as if trying to allay her fears, Red replies that it should only take him 2 weeks at most, before turning to his students and promising to meet them in Fuchsia City in a fortnight. In a low voice meant only for Red, Green pointedly asks if this is wise considering who's in Fuchsia, but shaking his head again, he simply replies that he won't let anything happen to Ash. She has his word on that. This at least seems satisfactory, with the former Pokédex holder beckoning Ash, AJ, and Benga to follow her to the train station so they can take the magnet train, while Red slips down a side street and into the flower shop where he purchases 2 bouquets of immortelles. Taking the flowers gingerly, as if he has much experience holding things this way, he then deftly releases Arrow from its ball before mounting up and taking off into the sky, his eyes set squarely on the northeast, while his mind wanders to the long overdue tasks that await him at his destinations. Over with Ash and co, they have just arrived in Celadon City, having crossed the span of an entire region in less than an hour. Stepping out onto the street, Ash and AJ both reminisce about how they weren't here so long ago in the grand scheme of things, though it feels as though their entire worlds have changed since then. AJ then suggests they stop off at the gym to check in on Anthony and Rebecca, and so he can finally make good on his promise to battle the gym leader. Noting that it'll be good to see the father and daughter again, Ash follows his friend as he makes his way towards the fighting gym. Stepping inside, Ash sees that very little has changed, though this is fine by them, as cupping his hands around his mouth, AJ calls into the cavernous corridor that he's here to issue a challenge. Stepping forth, Anthony demands to know who has come to challenge him, though when he sees his guests, his face splits into a broad grin and he welcomes them all. Smiling too, AJ steps forward to shake the gym leader's hand, saying it's good to see him, though that doesn't mean he's gonna hold back in their battle, a claim which only makes Anthony's grin grow as he leads them further in. Entering the battlefield, AJ and Anthony don't waste a moment in bringing out their Pokemon, with Hitmonchan and Barbaracle both bursting into the boxing ring and clashing fists in an immediate showing of their own strength and fighting spirit. When neither is able to assert clear dominance through this, they break apart and return to their corners, with Anthony commenting that it's risky to use a rock type here. However, grinning confidently, AJ retorts this is just further proof of how much faith he has in Barbaracle, as he tells it to show Anthony what they're made of. Grunting its understanding, Barbaracle begins with a shell smash, shattering its own protective rock armor before spreading its arms wide in a gesture that confuses both Hitmonchan and Anthony, with the latter asking AJ what it's doing. Still smiling, AJ answers that Barbaracle likes to give its opponent a free hit to size them up, and seeing no reason to turn down the chance, Anthony tells Hitmonchan to use Mach Punch. Rushing in, the punching Pokemon delivers a sharp jab to Barbaracle's exposed chest. Though standing its ground, Barbaracle merely snarls, as if informing Hitmonchan that it is unimpressed and intends to take its disappointment out on the fighting type. It then lashes out with a headbutt, which thanks to the hand on its head is also a punch, sending Hitmonchan reeling while Barbaracle advances on it. Knowing to be cornered, Anthony commands his partner to try Mach Punch again, and while this does come with a boost in speed, Barbaracle proves faster, catching Hitmonchan's wrist with both of its left hands and hurling it into the rope. This however proves something of an error, as Hitmonchan used the momentum to spring itself upwards and strike Barbaracle in a reverse sky uppercut, coming from above and striking downwards onto its opponent's head. Being a super effective move, and a well-honed one at that, Barbaracle is forced to take a step back, with Anthony attempting to capitalize by calling for another Mach Punch, now that he's sure the water rock type is in no state to catch it. Unfortunately, while Barbaracle cannot catch the punch, it can prevent it in other ways, as on AJ's cry, it delivers a dual chop to the shoulders with its upper arms that brings Hitmonchan to its knees. From a glance, it is plain to see that this blow has left the fighting type barely conscious, let alone in any state to fight, but all the same it carries out its orders, ramming its fist into Barbaracle's stomach one last time, then looking up at his foe, as if daring it to do whatever savage deed it has in mind. In that moment, AJ thinks he sees something like respect in his Rocky Rage monster's eyes. Then, with a grunt, it performs a second dual chop, this time with its lower arms, ramming them into either side of Hitmonchan's throat, and knocking it out in what could almost be called an act of mercy. Recalling their Pokemon, Anthony praises AJ for how strong he's gotten, laughing that the boy's got to show him his workout regimen, though as is his way, Benga cuts in before AJ can speak, declaring haughtily that if this joke of a gym leader finds a weakling like Ali impressive, then he should fight him, since he'll show him real power. Scowling, AJ tells his cousin to butt out, though with a grin, Anthony replies that actually he'd love to go another round, though first he's got to get Hitmonchan patched up. Capiche? Giving an impatient flick of his head, Benga grumbles that he supposes, with Anthony immediately departing. Having no desire to hang around to watch Benga battle, Ash, AJ, and Delia all do likewise, with Ash adding that if Benga and AJ are both having gym battles, then he better have one too so he doesn't fall behind. Remembering what Reddit said about Celadon being the nearest city with the gym he hasn't challenged yet, Ash suggests they go there, with Delia helpfully offering to guide the boys, being quite excited at the thought of seeing her son partake in a gym battle. Feeling equally fired up, Ash accepts, following his mum as she takes point, while AJ follows behind. Thanks to Delia's experience as a traveler, she is able to get them to Celadon in only 2 days, an impressive feat to say the least, though truthfully, Ash is less interested in that than he is in the sight of the city when it comes into view. Running ahead, he and Pikachu quickly find the only building in town with a design outlandish enough to be a gym, as the roof has been modelled after a gloom, bearing 6 bulbous brown petals and 4 reddish-orange leaves. Stepping inside, Ash finds himself in a reception area, where a pretty young woman asks if he's here on gym business, trainer school business, or perfume business. Wrinkling his nose at this last option, Ash states that he's here to challenge the gym leader, with the woman nodding that he's in luck since Lady Erica has a vacancy, so he can have his battle now if he would like. Beaming broadly, Ash says he'd love that, being led into a large battlefield adorned with grass, trees, and other plant life, where another woman is waiting, though she's a little older, being a couple of years senior of his mum in red. Speaking of his mother, she and AJ arrive shortly after, looking a little out of breath, though when Delia sees Erica, she greets her with a smile. smile. Smiling too, Erica addresses Delia as Green until the younger woman politely corrects her, at which point she switches to using her preferred name as a sign of respect. With this all out of the way, Erica at last turns her attention to Ash, informing him that their battle will be a 3-on-3, to which the boy nods, asking if he is correct in assuming she's a grass specialist. Nodding as well, Erica replies that she is, and this is all Ash needs to hear, as he brings forth his Trico and tells her to show this gym leader some real flower power. In response, Erica chooses her powerful-looking Gloom, stating she believes Ash has stolen her line, though it seems this will not be the only thing he steals, as without hesitation, he claims the first move for himself, ordering Trico to start off with a pound. As it turns out, start off is something of a misnomer, as when Trico's thick tail hits Gloom head-on, the weed Pokemon is sent soaring back at almost the speed of sound, before crashing hard into the wall and being rendered unconscious in a single hit. Everyone is shocked by this sudden defeat, even Ash, who hadn't quite realized how powerful his Pokemon had become from training and battling against so many high-level young trainers. Nonetheless, he encourages Erica to choose her next Pokemon, with the gym leader deciding to stray a bit from her usual gym team and bring forth her Skiploom, trusting its flying grass typing will protect it from Trico, while also giving it several super effective moves to use against the grass gecko. To this end, she takes the opening move, calling for an acrobatics, with Skiploom riding the wind like a dandelion caught in an updraft, though when its erratic flight turns downwards, there is nothing whimsical about it, with the cottonweed Pokemon zeroing in on its prey and landing hard on Trico's face. Due to Skiploom being roughly twice as large as its opponent, this is enough to knock Trico off its feet, though as it hits the ground, Ash has to use Pound to push the grass flying type off it. Unfortunately, this lacks the same force as the one that downed Gloom, as Trico is prone and flailing, though all the same, it is able to hook under the flying ball of cottonweed and send it skyward. However, the sky is where Skiploom flourishes, and so seeing a chance to maybe end things, Erica commands her friend to use acrobatics again. Likewise, seeing the danger, Ash calls for a quick attack to dodge, though like on the battle tree, when Trico goes to use the move, it is coated in a green aura that makes it even faster. As a result, it is not only able to avoid Skiploom's attack, but also come back around and strike the final stage grass flower in the back when it lands. As it was with Gloom, this single good hit is all that is required to dispatch Erica's second Pokemon, though as the green aura fades, Ash wonders aloud what that move is. Helpfully, the gym leader reveals that it's called Grassy Glide, with Ash thanking her as he formally congratulates Trico for learning a new move. Curiously, Erica asks how Trico learned it if not from him, to which Ash shrugs that it kinda looked like the battle tree taught it to Trico while they were battling on top of it. Erica says nothing to this, though from the slight quirking of her eyebrow, Ash can tell that this answer has certainly given her food for thought. However, now is hardly the time for such things, as it is time for Erica to reveal her final Pokemon, with the grass specialist choosing her Tangela, Angela. Wanting to end things quickly and get his badge, Ash calls for another Grassy Glide, though to his surprise, when Trico closes in to strike Angela, she's able to lash out with her tendrils, wrapping one around each of Trico's wrists and ankles, as well as its tail, which brings the grass gecko to an abrupt halt and cancels the move. Then, to make matters worse, Erica next calls for a Giga Drain, with Trico screeching its name as its vitality is sapped by the vine Pokemon. Desperately, Ash tries to get it to break free, though it seems Angela's hold is just too strong, with Trico remaining trapped as it is continually fed on by the predatory plant, with its health slowly falling second by second. Knowing this will be the end unless he does something, Ash cries encouragement for his friend, urging it to believe in itself like he believes in it, with this serving as just the kickstart Trico needs in more ways than one, as suddenly a bright glow encompasses Trico, though this is not the green glow of Grassy Glide, but rather a pure white light that everyone watching recognizes as an evolution. A moment later, as a majestic Grovalo hangs suspended in Angela's vines, and as it makes eye contact with its fellow grass type at last, it smirks. Then, with a flick of its head, it brings down its newly grown leaf crest, smacking Angela squarely on the forehead and sending her crashing face first into the gym floor with enough force to leave a crater. As for Grovyle, it manages to use its own acrobatic skills to touch down gracefully, before pulling out its signature twig, which it placed in its mouth. While at its feet, Angela lies unconscious, giving Ash a 3-0 win. And just like that, the battle is over, with Delia rushing to the field to hug her son, while AJ approaches a moment later to clap him on the back, in a way he imagines Master Red would if he were here. Though Ash protests all this, calling it embarrassing, the pair see from his smile that he does not mean it, and so continue, until they are interrupted by Erica, who steps forth and offers Ash a rainbow badge, to commemorate his victory here at the Celadon gym. Beaming broadly now, Ash accepts, and as he thrusts his newest prize skyward, he exclaims that he's halfway to the Pokemon League, while on either side of him, Grovyle and Pikachu both cheer. Following this battle, Erica invites the trio to stay for some tea, catching up with Delia, as well as questioning Ash about his history with Grovyle. Through this, she comes to learn that Grovyle was once a forest guardian, stating that this would explain the emergence of Grassy Glide, as it is said that some grass Pokemon who are particularly attuned with nature can even speak to plant life directly. She then offers to show them around her perfume shop, and while Delia expresses interest, Ash and AJ both decline, saying they really must be going if they want to make it to Fuchsia on time. Having known they would have to part ways eventually, Delia wishes the boys luck on their travels, promising to cheer both of them on from the sidelines as she heads off with Erica. However, before she goes, she cannot resist one last bit of mothering, giving Ash a final hug and reminding him to change his underwear every day, while to the side, AJ snickers under his breath. From here, the two boys set off down the cycling road, quickly getting into a race to see who can reach Fuchsia first. Though, this is interrupted by the appearance of the Bridge Bikie Gang, who order the pair to hand over a Pokemon each or else. Looking at each other with matching grins, Ash and AJ tell the leader that he really ought to be careful what he wishes for, with Pikachu and Charmeleon both springing into action and making short work of the entire crew. Following this, the rest of the trip to Fuchsia City is uneventful, with the boys arriving a little ahead of schedule. Nonetheless, when they take their first steps into the city, they see Red waiting for them. Excitedly, Ash and AJ run up to their mentor, though as they get close, they are shocked to see the person they had thought to be Red shift and change, becoming a woman with purple hair, who gives them each a cruel scowl. Angrily, AJ demands to know who she is and what she did with Master Red, though in a voice filled with hate, she replies that she doesn't answer to spares, before commanding an unseen Pokemon to use Psychic. At once, AJ is lifted off his feet and held into a nearby tree where he slumps unconscious, though before Ash can do anything, he feels his own body suddenly grow heavy, and as he collapses to the ground, he sees a Venomoth dispensing blue particles into the air as it lands on the woman's forearm. Then, as the sleep powder starts to drag him into unconsciousness, he hears her chuckle maliciously, telling him to get plenty of sleep, since he'll need it with what she's got planned for him. And that's where we'll leave things. Who is this mysterious woman that seems to have it out for Ash and AJ? Why did she attack them out of the blue like that? And what is Red doing in Johto that's so important he had to leave his students? Find out as the journey continues.